Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Hi, I am Sylvia Hayes, and you are watching Good News at Primetime. Tonight, we have a good show. We're going to be talking about love, how to love and how to show love. You know, a lot of people don't know how to love someone else. Sometimes people don't even know how to love themselves. So, we're going to talk about love tonight. And you know, loving yourself is so important. We love everybody else a lot of times more than we love ourselves. We put their feelings before we put ours. And so we can't do that. That is not a good thing to do. So we're going to be talking about love, how to show love, and how to let somebody else know that they are loved, how to love and how to show love. Okay, let's do it like that. How to love and how to show love. And in my book, I got to mention that Power Thoughts, empowering you to be successful in life. So you got to get this book. You can go to ankproductions.com and get the book, ankproductions.com. It talks about love in the book as well as other things, loving yourself and loving other people and forgiving and all of that kind of stuff. Because you know, forgiving is a part of love. You have to forgive people who do you wrong and love, because you know what? We need that love. Okay. When you don't forgive people, you're displaying a not love. Let's do it like that. You're not loving when you're holding grudges and you're hurting. So you want that good feeling. We all want that good feeling of loving people and being loved. So we're going to talk about how to love and how to show love. And we're going to go ahead and bring on my guest, Mr. Reggie Drama, who can help us out with this conversation.
Had to get that adjustment, that mic adjustment.
Oh,
But
okay.
can you
Oh,
hear me
Reggie, how
okay?
you doing?
Doing good, doing good. As a matter of fact, we're in that month of getting ready for that month, Valentine's month.
Yeah.
And I know I got to get a little light here. Uh, I actually was inside, and the guys started playing a little music, so I had to go to Plan B. But we always ready. But with Valentine's, wow, day coming up. That's what we call Cupid love. But when we think about love, we think about the love that God, the Most High, the Creator, has for
Mhm.
us. And it makes you want to share a little bit more love.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And you know, some people think love is love, but you know there is like four kinds of love. Okay. There
Mm,
is Eros love, which is the erotic, the passion love when you're loving somebody. Ooh, I just love you, love you, love you. And then there's
okay.
the filial love, which is the love of friends, and you know, those are equal to you. Then there is the storage love, which is the love of parents for their children. And
Oh,
there's the agape love, the love of mankind. So
ah,
we want that love of mankind because a lot of people don't know how to love, how to show love, and sometimes we show love out of habit. I would say, yeah, unconsciously showing love, and you don't know it. For instance, like let's see, for instance, like when somebody is upset, you know, and you go and you comfort them, that's showing love, you know. And somebody's crying, you grow up and hug them and pet them, it's going to be okay. That's showing love. You see somebody who you go to their house, they, okay, we'll say a single person, a single woman. You go to her house, she have two or three kids, and you see she don't even have enough dishes to feed her kids in, or just have one or two, three plates, you know. So you go buy some dishes and give it to her so she can have it. That's showing love. You know, when you do stuff for people and not, you know, looking for something in return, that's showing love. Okay, people need to do that. When you see a child out there playing in the street and you know it's a possibility they can get ran over, that may not be your kid, but you can no pull them out of the street. Hey, get out of the street. You know, that's showing love. I've actually done that one time. I was driving down the street and I saw some kids in the street playing ball, and and I told them, y'all get back off the street, so they won't get ran over. And these were little kids, and the parents was there, and they had yard to be in, but they prefer being in the street when all these cars constantly coming down. So you have to show love, and loving your fellow man. Just being there. That you got to show love, because there's we live in a world where we need that love. A lot of people are so selfish. If they don't do it, why should I? If a person don't
Right.
take care of their children, why should I? Okay, that woman knows she need to be buying that baby some socks. Okay, if that woman don't buy some socks, buy that baby some socks. Okay, that's showing love.
Well, and you shared a different types of love. I know sometimes doing Valentine's, we focus a little bit on the Cupid love, romantic love.
Mm-hmm.
Going out to get the candy, the flowers and stuff like that. But there's neighborly type love that you mentioned. You know, I see people. I said, man, that's a lot of love. They'll look out for their neighbor. They're the good Samaritan. They're the person that goes out there to make sure uh, if they eating, you eating. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna show some love. People say, well, show them some love. Show them some love. That's neighborly love. That's human compassion love. That's the type of love that when you speak and think about it, you don't even have to know the person. It's just humankind love.
Mm-hmm.
And when we can show that, that's the type of love little kids have. Little kid will hug you or,
Yeah.
embrace you. And, now when they get a little older, they might want something. But, when they real little, they just reach out to you, grab you. That's why it's not good to hurt the little children. And also, like with pets, people sometimes they say, well, you know what, Drum, I've got pets. I got a different love for the pet. It's still a relationship love. I can't stand to see animals, uh, you know, be mistreated and some type of compassion. So there's some love. There's brotherly love, sisterly love as well. When brothers come together and say, "That's my brother. Got to look out for him." I mean, they not your sibling brother, but either through a group or organization or something like that. That fellowship that you have. Women. I mentioned some time ago, ladies that knew my mom pretty much took care of us, my brother and I, the first 3 to 6 months of our life.
Mm-hmm.
And they just showed that love. They're my godmothers. They've gone on now, but they showed much love. And that's the type of love we have. Even love as a people. So I can
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah. And it's hard for a lot of people to say I love you.
Mm,
It is they'll show it, but they won't say it. You know,
right.
it's like the tongue swell up or something. I
Uh,
can't say it, but and I know people
well,
say, "Well, she know I love you." When you get
yeah.
that heard it through the grapevine, you don't love her. She know I love her. All this I
Hmm.
do for her, she know I love her. But it's like, why don't you tell her that you love her?
Well,
Sometimes you want to hear it. I love you.
yeah.
You
Well, you
know.
know what? What's up, Doc? You made me think. And I have to be honest. Sometimes, talking to men. Um, my dad my dad will be 90, God willing, in February. But we'll say some stuff like, "What's up there, Miss Letitia?" We'll say some stuff like, "I love you," and brothers will
Uh-huh.
say some stuff, like, "I love you. I love you, man." I tell my son, "I love you, man. I love you, man." Tell another brother, "Hey, man, I love you, brother." But I'm gonna tell you this, and I know my granddaddy loved me, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But my
Yeah.
granddaddy, I can't think of him just saying, "I love you," but he showed it in such a big way. that I knew he did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My granddaddy would spend time talking to us on the back porch. He would spend uh, time telling us stories and all this type of stuff. So I knew he loved us. But at that particular time, I didn't even, you know, it wasn't a verbal thing that had to be said. You know what I'm saying? It was
Mm-hmm.
just something like my grandmother. I don't think my grandmother said, "I just love you." You know what I'm saying? Now my mom, after my mom got older and we started hanging out a little bit, telling somebody you love them became a little bit more popular. But
Yeah.
even during my mom during her prime, when I was when I was growing up young, 18, 19 years old, I knew my mom loved me because my mom would make sacrifices. I didn't even have no question about that. But to come out and just say I love you, she'd get us some birthday, Christmas, and all that type of stuff. But I think now it's a lot more important to verbalize it. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
parents, old school parents, typically just at least mine didn't. We knew we were loved. We was eating, and the household was full of love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't remember the first time I remember my dad ever telling me that he loved me. I was a senior in college.
Okay,
That's the
whoa,
first
okay.
time. First time I ever. I'm not sure if that's the only time or not. But he said, "I love you, sweetheart." I'm going. I love you too. And this is what happened. It was his birthday, right? So like
Okay.
on the radio, they had a contest. You turn
Mm,
in send it, call in the name of a person and their birthday, the name, and
wow.
they'll pull the name and give them a birthday cake. And he
Mm,
won. I put his name in,
whoa.
and he won the birthday cake. And
Ah.
I called him and told him about it, and that made him happy. And that's when he said, "I love you, sweetheart." I guess he was happy
Ah.
about that. But then too, I remember on campus I hurt my arm, and he went to the doctor. I mean, went to the pharmacy and got a strap, a swing to put my arm in, and all that
Okay.
kind of stuff, and brought it to the campus so I can rest my arm. And I was
Wow.
feeling like I was daddy's little girl, because
Okay.
he did that for me. He took me shopping to buy stuff for school and stuff like that. I felt like I was daddy's little girl, but when I got that cake for him was the first time that I heard him say, "I love you." And
Wow.
that
Okay.
meant
Okay.
something to me too. That meant, and I always remember that day.
Mm.
I always remember
Well,
that day.
well, like I say, it's important now. I say it with my grandkids, my son. Every time I hang up with somebody, say, "Hey, power," I'm gonna say something. Man, love you, man. Appreciate you. But uh, doing like 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 I said, my mother, we shifted, and she had to be in her 60s. And that
Hmm.
meant that I had to be around maybe 25, 30 or something like that. But by that time I had gone, you didn't really want your mama to talk about I love you. you know, I mean, it's just what it was. You want to be kind of like, man, like you said, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I knew
Hmm.
that my mother loved me. I knew my grandmother. I knew all the folk in my family, even my neighbors. I knew my neighbors loved me. I don't remember a neighbor saying I love you. You know, but
Yeah.
uh, when it was dark, we had to go to school early. I would have a neighbor. I remember he'd come out there and make sure we made it down to the end of the street. All that type of stuff. Uh, and these were people that were no bloodline to me, so I knew they loved me. They didn't want to see no harm come to me. And I
Right.
think uh, uh, today, people have to hear the word "I love you," because this even though the actions, but we define love a little bit different. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Yeah.
Because we expect a little bit more out of love. We say, well, if you love me, you'll do this. If you love me, you'll do this. Uh, we'll put some demands on love, but uh, you know, uh, in rearing children, you know, they back in the day. it was not as much having the verbal "I love you," but I knew the physical love was there, and then that meant that verbal love was there because they wasn't gonna let me go hungry. They wasn't gonna let nobody hurt me. My granddaddy, even when he couldn't hardly walk, he'd get his little walking cane, and he'd be ready to knock somebody out if we had some problems at school. You know what I'm saying? He'd
Yeah.
be on that cane like that. And he had to be about 70 something then, but he was, he's a much man, but he would show that love. But today, I think is important, even in relationship. A lot of times I make sure that I tell my lady friend, Letitia, I love you. Uh, you know, I think all that's important because we know, especially as you get older, you don't know how much time you got. So you better
That's
be telling
right.
people you love them.
That's right.
It could be the last opportunity. I think about people that, and even guys that I did say, I love you, brother. And then when they did make transition, it was a lot easier for me to deal with. What's it, brother? It was a lot easier for me to deal with them because, you know, I left them on a good note. Peace and
Hmm.
love. I might not say, because brothers be like, yeah, man, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But they want some type of affection. I learned that from
Yeah.
being with
And
the fellas.
kids get into trouble a lot of time because they don't feel love. They don't get the
Oh
attention
yeah.
they need. They don't get the
Hmm.
discipline they desire. Because sometimes they do stuff just to get attention, and so you can discipline them to show you them that you love them. You know, and
Right.
so I challenge parents to spend some time with your kids, even if you do have to work every day. When you come in, sit down, give them a couple of minutes of your time before you go in there cooking. Did you do your homework? Sometimes parents walk in the door. Did you do your homework? Go clean that room.
Mm,
Do all this other stuff instead of saying, how was your day? Okay.
mm.
Or something. They need that assurance that they are loved and they're not just an object, somebody that they're just being taken care of. You
Oh
know,
yeah. Right.
they need to know that they are loved. Otherwise, because when they go out and do something, well, my parents don't care anyway. I'm gonna go do this.
Yeah.
So you
Well,
got to tell your kids you love them.
and you made me think about it. Sometimes, I mean, you can't buy love with money or material things. Uh, Sometimes some of the most heartless people are the people that they didn't really have time to either do some type of physical love or, you know, verbalize their love. And those children tend to be, they got everything. They look like they got everything, but nobody ever spent a little time with them, talking to them, just asking
Mhm.
them how they doing. One of the things that uh, I've been putting out for the next 100 days, and we're in day number 31, is making sure you show some love to a young black male. And at
Mhm.
first it was kind of hard. People said, well, I said they hadn't thought about it. A lady called me, she said, drummer, you know what? That's important that somebody says, hey, you might not say you love them, but you at least have to acknowledge that they're here as a human being. Say, hey man, how you doing? Shows concern, and that helps people deal with those missing moments where they might have a connection uh, between another human being. The only time they get a love is if somebody's on the internet and push the heart. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And that
Yeah.
so it's important that we get some verbalized love and physical love as well. It's good to hug people. It's good to make
Yeah,
people
and to
feel
know
good.
that your love keep you from doing things sometimes too, because like
Oh
they
yeah,
might do something and they say, "Well, this would really hurt my grandmama, so I'm not going to do this." Or
right,
my little brother is looking up to me and he really loves me. I can't show him this side of me. It
right.
will prevent you from doing a few things. My mom would kill me if she knew I did this. If I was going to
Yeah,
do that.
and your mom ain't gonna kill you, but you know, like you say, out of love, there are certain things you won't do.
Yeah,
You won't hurt somebody's feeling. You won't say something negative that hurts somebody.
right.
You won't be inconsiderate. I think in life, uh, sometimes now when I was growing up, you know, I would because I wasn't a good fighter,
Mm-hmm.
so I had to be able to talk talk about you just like I was fighting. But I loved everybody enough not to talk about something real bad. Now I talk about back in the day. I talk about your mama and stuff like that. But what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna go so hard that I make you feel super bad. Uh, you know. Oh, you got a question out there. Speaking the truth, I was just discussing this with my sister. She was talking about how she was dealing with her stepson who wanted to reach out more and acknowledge him. Hmm. Yeah, that's a good thought. Because
Yeah.
when when you got what we call bonus kids or old school stepsons, stepdaughters, it's important that you show them some love. Sometimes it's hard for people that's not biologically connected to you to show some love. Especially some other kids, and kids start feeling it. Especially teenagers,
Mm-hmm.
they can tell the difference between. So uh, they treat me different than they treat the rest of them. So
Yeah.
it's important
Yeah,
that
and stuff like that. When it's hard for you to say "I love you," you can ask them to help you and do something. Like you gonna
mm,
bake a cake. Come and help me. Help
right,
me bake this cake, or let me show you how to do this, or something like that. Try to bond with them in some kind of activity. And that's showing love right there, showing you got some kind of
ooh,
feelings for them
yes,
because you want them to participate and do stuff with you. You know,
yes.
so that'll help. Or you
Well,
want
when
to
you
go with me to the ball game? You know,
yeah,
so doing stuff like that will help out a lot. Just try to
yes,
get them engaged rather than stand off. You know.
mm,
Yeah. So let me see what is there. Also, my niece in Korea found a way to reach out through video because of the time zone. She wanted to keep the communication open. Okay.
oh
Yeah.
yeah. A- And that's good. Social media does now. You got physical love. How people say, well, uh, we had men. A lot of times, uh, we would hold meetings, and I would find out guys. I said, well, when the last time you talked to your son or your daughter? And if a guy was uh, in a baby position or a baby mama position, or he was ex or something like that, usually it was years since they had talked to their children, their bloodline children.
Mm-hmm.
And when social media came, especially like opportunities where they could call and be like FaceTime or some type of thing where they could talk to them, it made them closer. There was a guy, his son was 21 years old, and he hadn't really talked to his son since he was about 8 or 9 years old.
Mm.
But they built a relationship through online, and then by the time they got together, you know he had a different appreciation for his dad, and his dad had a different appreciation for him. Well, sometimes the show love, and it's especially important in communities now because uh, there's some young men and young women that are teenagers that nobody's showing them no love. Everybody's just saying, uh, you know, they kind of hard on them, or they might go to their room and just close the door, and they don't interact with regular human beings. You
Right.
know, and if you don't get some type of love, some type of affection, that leads to a whole lot of other things, suicidal thoughts and depression, a whole lot of things. So love is critical. You know what? I think about it. Uh, my grandmother uh, was a loving person, really loving. I mean, she would always find somebody to love, whether it's at the church or she would bring somebody. We was taking somebody some food all the time. She loved
Mm-hmm.
to cook. She's showing love because she cooking. And we ain't never come up short with the food we had at the crib. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Some
Right.
people. I remember I said, man, we've been sharing food and affection for people not so long. I didn't even know that was a part of love, showing love in the community. That's part of what we call the beloved community.
Yeah, and when you're speaking of food, my mom do that all the time. When she was
Mm.
alive, if somebody was sick, or somebody died, she baking something and taking it over there to them. You know,
Whoa.
some kind of gathering. My mom was always cooking. Come on and get something to eat. You know, and when she had a garden, come and get some of these peas.
Oh
Or something
yeah.
like that. And then sometimes people will share with her, come and get these greens or these peas. I got a watermelon I want you to have. They were sharing, that's sharing love. And when she passed away, a lot of time, a lot of the people got up talking about my mom and her food, how she
Wow.
cooked. They love my mom's cooking. So she shared that love and it meant something to them. That's something that stayed in their heart. How she shared that love.
Right.
By cooking and giving food away. So it's
Well,
important. It's very
well, you,
important to share that love and show that love.
yeah.
And love doesn't hurt either. We got to
Mm.
get to this other part of the love where people gonna beat on you and say, "I love you." Love don't
Ah.
hurt. So you're gonna have to learn to love yourself. That's one of the things. Because a lot of time people in these domestic abuse situations, and they thinking just because they're getting beat up, they are love. That's not
Mm.
love. Love don't hurt. And of course, me. I wouldn't be in that kind of relationship. No, that ain't love. You don't love me like that. I love me more than
Well,
than that.
well, if a person hadn't experienced love, or they've been in their family, that was the type of love that they thought existed. Maybe they had a mother or father that was abusive to one or the other, and they typically never saw real love. You know, so
Mm-hmm.
they have a tendency to maybe believe that the only way somebody can love you is to hit you or do you bad. Well, like you say, as we learn more about love as a human, as a species, we're learning a lot more about love. Like I said, my granddaddy, grandmother, even my mother, back in their day, they had a particular type of love. Like I said, my grandmother pretty much loved everybody. My grandma, all of them. But today, and then we were pretty much taught to love our enemies. You know,
Mm-hmm.
now some people like, man, I ain't loving my enemy. I can't take it that far.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody got something against me, I got something against them. But over the years, I I learned how to temper that. It didn't mean that you go out of your way to get abused by your enemy. Like in a bad relationship, people say, man, he a good man, and you coming out there with black eyes and a stake over your eye, and you limping, and say, a good man's hard to find, and he paid in the bills. Well, those days are over. I mean, even though there's still women in domestic violence situations. One thing that's happening now, people making themselves aware that that's not love. They don't have to tolerate being treated like that. So
Yeah.
it's we've taken love to a higher, I would say, a higher vibration today. Even though it looks like uh, there ain't no love in the world. I got to share this real quick. Uh, it ain't love if he jealous and possessive. Know the signs. Oh yeah, if it ain't no love, if he jealous and possessive, because some guys, I mean, if somebody look at you, they'll slap the crap out you. I seen a girl get hit back in the day. She was in the club, and well, I was probably about 20 something. This guy came in the club. Now he ended up getting killed. A lady killed him, but even after, he got killed in his 30s, and I thought about it. I said, well, he was an abuser.
Mm-hmm.
I had sympathy for the brother, but I remember that day he popped that girl in the club, and she was like, oh, he loved me. He come get me. He ain't gonna let me stay out.
Ah,
She thought that was it. you
It
know,
ain't that much love in the world. Look, I can
yeah,
love. I don't need you to love me
he
like that.
loved
Because
me. Yeah,
I've
he
seen
won't let.
people say a piece of man is better than no man. It's like,
Yeah,
give me the no man. Because
yeah,
I can love myself. I don't need you to love me. You're there for companionship. I can love
yeah.
myself and make myself happy. I don't need you to love me and beat up on me like that. No, if you're going to add to my life, more power to
And,
you. But when you're going to
and that,
destroy my dignity, nope. I don't need anybody to destroy my dignity, make me feel bad, and you know where I can't say how good my man is. Nope, I don't need that. I don't
right.
need that at all. So, love don't hurt. Love don't hurt. And if you're gonna
And,
hurt me, if you're gonna be jealous of me, if you're gonna keep me from my friends, nope. If you love me, you're gonna let me have my friends and my freedom. Okay, so
mm,
if I love you, I ain't going nowhere. I'm gonna have my friends. I'm coming back to you. You
well,
know,
and
that's
well, uh, in today's relationships, I was, and I'm not a counselor, but there was a young brother, and one time he came to something. We were doing something. He said, "Man, uh, in his family, uh, he was he was a dad in four different families. He had four baby mamas.
mm,
Okay,
mm-hmm,
and he was saying he had a little difficulty because he even though now he got four baby mamas, but it was kind of hard for him to go in that household and and see his baby mama with another guy. Okay, I mean this is why he had a restraining order on him, and he couldn't hardly see his kids. Well, he had to get some therapy because you know, it was ironic because he got four baby mamas. And he can't keep all of them. He ain't have enough money to take care of none of them. But
right,
yet he would get into altercation. He see a guy. It was this one girl in particular, young lady that he just couldn't stand nobody to be with. And I said, well, brother, you know, why don't you marry her? If you love her that much, keep her in the house with you. But uh, he finally, I don't think they married or nothing like that, but he finally was able to get over that because I think she moved on. And when you're jealous, you can put yourself in a compromised situation where you won't grow and the other party won't grow. Part of a relationship, part of love is growth.
right,
You look at a healthy relationship, but it's with the spouse, a significant other, it's with your kids, uh, it's with anybody. We're talking about like romantic type love, and then when you look at love amongst friends, family, and relatives, there's a different type of love where you value each other. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah. And you know that to talk about this jealousy thing, sometimes jealousy can keep the other partner from growing in their career because they're thinking that you messing with the boss man or something like that. Or who on the job you messing with, or something like that. They can't grow. They might want to like entertainment. All entertainers are not out there to get everybody. But sometimes if you have a spouse who's not in the field and don't understand it, they think you messing with everybody because you're being friendly.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's a hindrance in growth.
yeah. Well, and we talk about love. There's a type of love called sacrifice love.
Mm-hmm.
Sacrifice love is one of the things that women did kind of back in the day. A woman would forego her goals, her dreams, her objectives to build on the man's goals, dreams, and objectives. Because one of the first times I think I was doing a session and a lady, she said, I was married for 45 years and her husband had just died. She said 46 of them was miserable. Now, I was like, it took me a minute to get a grasp of that. She had made a sacrifice. Uh, you know, she was a stay-at-home type mother. but she wanted a career. She wanted to teach. And believe it or
Mm-hmm.
not, she was about, she finished high school. And when her husband died, they had been married 40 something years. And she was 70 something years old. And she ended up getting a bachelor's degree to teach before she turned 80. Now, I don't know.
Mm.
She gone to glory now, but she was in what you call sacrificial love, which is, you know, you and some people in that type situation, and it's years of sacrifice. They don't do anything for themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The
They
way
they
I look
are
at it, if you love somebody, you're gonna try to enhance their lives, help make them happy as well, not just you. A relationship is not all about me, me, me. It's what can I do for you? What can I do to help you to be happy? Because if
right.
you're happy, then I'm happy. Like they say, a happy wife, happy life. So
Yeah. Well,
everybody needs to
now
be
that
happy.
hey, well, that changed in the '70s when women lived, because back in the day, it was like uh, the guy, women, and that changes love because women roles were totally different, you know, 50, 60 years ago. Now you got women that are active, you got men that are active. It's uh, it's uh, it's a different level of love, you know.
Hmm.
Uh, and not to be all over the place, but I think about young people today. Like I said, that young brother, he was about 25, 30 years old. At 25, 30, 25 years old, he was in four different type of relationships with four different women. Okay, many consider marriage to be a covenant with God. That's why they stay, because love or lust can change and fade away. That's a good point. Marriage was a kicker, a stickler. You know, a lot of people stayed in marriage. Like I said, that lady was there for 45 years. She said 46 of them were miserable. uh, but she stayed. She was a true blue, dedicated wife, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, but today, because, when you say love yourself, uh, there's tendency not to want to make that much sacrifice. You know, uh, there are women and men that say, "Hey, long term things like marriage. I don't know if young people gonna be married as long as their grandparents. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. A lot
Uh,
of them won't because some people they want to have their way. Man want his way and a woman want her way. A lot of men have a set way of what they think a woman should do. You know,
hmm
woman should cook food for me, have my bath ready, and wash my clothes and all that kind of stuff. And the woman say, "Hell no, I ain't doing that. I ain't your mama." You know, and that's going to be
Yeah,
a conflict right there.
it's gonna be a
They
conflict.
do it.
Oh yeah,
So
it's gonna be a conflict.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and women, they a lot of them that's why a lot of them don't get married so quickly because they don't believe in being enslaved in a marriage. So
Yeah, yeah.
there is a difference. And for me, um, for a relationship to stay in a relationship as long as you can, well, I can say as long as you can, learn how to keep your mouth shut. You know,
Ooh.
learn how to keep, because a lot of
Hey, well,
everybody wants to have their way.
yeah,
This is the right way. No, this is the right way. They're conflicting. So my thing
yeah.
is choose your battles wisely. Choose
Mm,
your battles wisely because everything is not worth fighting over. And just
mm.
because you was raised one way and you think everything got to go this way. Well, this person was raised in a different household and they have different beliefs. So
Oh
you
yes.
can't go both ways. You're gonna have to juggle in between. And in the
Well,
beginning of marriage, they're gonna have to learn each other anyway. But choose your battles wisely. Because I know a lot of
well,
times they
well,
say, I hated my husband. You know,
mm,
for the first few years I hated him. but it's beginning to
Yeah.
work out now,
Yeah.
but
Well, you know, uh, one of the things, and it's changed over the years. People say love used to be all you needed to be in a healthy relationship. Choose your battles wisely is a power thought. Oh yeah, that should be a power thought, Miss Sylvia. Choose your
oh,
battles.
that's in my book.
That's in there. Oh,
That's
I
my
thought it
book.
was.
Choose your battles
Okay.
wisely.
Ah, but so when we look at relationships, you think about um, the sacrifice. Today, 50-50 love, but it's a little bit different today. Like I said, in marriage, uh, there are women that they said, man, she was the perfect wife. I see some ladies that have outlived their husband. They're in their 80s and 90s,
Mhm.
and some of them was just housewives. And he took care of everything. Well, they were the type of women, and they got kids, grandkids, the whole nine. Well, they you know they lived a healthy life. The lady, she said, after 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 Reginald gone, I ain't looking for nobody else. That's how that she was. They would, her daughters were trying to get her to go out with somebody. You know what I'm saying? She
Mhm.
said, I don't need no companions, because when he that's all the man I needed. That God sent me that man. That's all the man I ever need. And she's a happy lady. I think she might be close to 90, and she ain't remarried or nothing. She go by and put some flowers on his grave and stuff. But she was happily married for all that time period. That was a lot of love. Some people say that love is all you need. So, man, but they say you need a little more love than love. Now you gotta have some money. It's,
And
in
respect.
relationship, respect. Because back in the day, when you teenage marriage, you say I love him, and then your parents are, y'all gonna have to get married. Y'all ain't gonna be shacking up. Y'all gonna do something. So they get married. He said love was enough. Love was enough to keep them together. Like that lady, and I said, I know she got to be 90. I think he passed. She was about 80 something then. They had been married a long, about 60, 50 years. She got married. She was, matter of fact, she got married when she was like 16.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
she got
you
married
couldn't
when she
have
was like
paid me to
60.
get married at that age. 18, 20. Nope, you couldn't have paid me.
Yeah, yeah. But well, see, today is different.
Yeah,
Women are waiting a little bit longer. Everybody wants to find themselves, and you ask yourself, is that being selfish? We said we have to love ourselves. But I think you can love yourself and love somebody else and not be selfish. I think
yeah,
when you got complete love, you have the capability of, especially when you love yourself. I mean, I'm not talking about a selfish type love. I'm talking about a love where you love yourself, where you're not looking for the other party to replace the love that you don't have for yourself.
yeah, yeah,
Because
to
they would,
complete you. You don't need
yeah,
that
because
other
they'll,
person to complete you. I
yeah.
mean, they
Well, well,
enhance
well.
your life, enhance the feelings, but to complete you, make you whole,
Right,
no.
right.
Cause, 'cause
Well, in my,
that's like when somebody say, "Where's your better half?" I'm going, "Better half." I
ah,
am the better half. I don't have a better half. I have the other half. I don't
you
have a
know, hobby,
better
your
half.
better half, Mississippi. Hobby's your better half. I mean,
Yeah,
no,
he's
you
the
you hobby's
other
better. Well,
half,
let me
not
let
the
me
better
let me
half.
reverse that. Your hobby's better half. Well,
Yeah,
well,
well, I might be his better half, but
yeah.
I'm his
I,
other
I
half.
I I stand corrected. But in relationships, uh, we when you complete, you get a complete person. Do you think social media influence our ideas of marriage and relationship too much today? Ooh, that's a good question. See, people see what they see on TV and social media. Like I say, you see people uh, with with side pieces, part-time girls, the cleanup woman, and then now you got you know men and women. You got cougars out there, so it's a different thing with relationship now. Everybody want to get, not everybody, but people had raised uh, that thought. But that's a good question. Do you think social media influence our ideas on marriage? I'm over here with some brothers now. We get to a church, and all these guys, some of them been married 40, 50 years.
Uh, but
But you
social
think
media,
social media?
I don't know, because to be honest, even though I have a Facebook account, I don't look into other people's personal lives.
Oh,
Unless it's
yeah.
somebody telling me, saying something about how they won something or something like that, just to get into marriage relationship stuff. I don't have that on my Facebook
Well,
page, so
well, you
I
know what?
can't
Some
tell.
people, you know what? I know some brothers. They said, man, like what you just said. Social media, it was different with me. Even though I got Facebook, what is Facebook, all them things. Got a bunch of stuff. Follows, got 40 something pages, but I didn't look at it like a romantic, the same way I am here, the same way I am there. Well, you had some brothers that had created Mr. Big over on in the Facebook world,
Oh, really?
or yeah, oh yeah, yeah, it was some brothers. I know some brothers personally. They said, man, because I said, man, what's your name? He said, Drum, I'm your friend on Facebook. But on Facebook, he big, ain't this is a name. Big Daddy, Big Daddy. Now, when you Big Daddy, Big Daddy, uh, you can't show that to your significant other. Cause see that
Right.
page, they not doing simple love. They doing rendezvous love. They done got together. You see what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
and that can cause problems in a relationship, because that's when guys have to they say you're gonna have to do if you're gonna be with me, you're gonna have to delete your Facebook account. And the guy be
Yeah.
like, man, I ain't doing that. I got plenty of fish over there. Well, in those cases, social media is can be devastating to a relationship. But if you just I've seen husbands and wives on Facebook. I know a couple of brothers. They got a page and their wife got a page. Then they got a page with him and his wife. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But it's they talking to people they know, but they ain't trying to get a booty call and nothing like that. But now some folk, oh boy, Facebook, is that place. You know,
Yeah.
uh, all these things, but any tool can be used, to enhance or improve. I know a brother. He said, "Man, I can't get on that book. I can't get on that book, John. When I get on that book, they start calling like he couldn't be resistant." He said, "I get on that book, man. They start coming out the woodwork, classmates, co-workers,
Yeah. So
women I
you
used
don't
to
have
know."
to respond. You know,
Right?
you don't have to
Yeah,
respond. It's how disciplined you are, whether it
that's true.
affects you and your relationship. Because people might say something to you. You might post something. Somebody might put something in there and respond to your post. You don't have to
Right?
respond to it. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
you don't know how many friend requests I have. Delete, delete, delete.
yeah.
I don't accept everybody from my friends.
Right,
When somebody requests to be my friend, I check them out and see what they are about. If it's something positive and no derogatory stuff on their page, then and if I know them or if they're friends
right.
of a friend of mine and all that kind of stuff, then I might accept them. But otherwise, I don't I don't just get every Joe Blow that wants to be on my page, want to be my friends.
Yeah,
No, you
yeah.
have to be
But
selective
uh,
and you
yeah,
have to
but
be disciplined.
it could be harder with young people, like I say, because a lot of young people in a lot of relationships. I mean, like I say, you got some brothers with and sisters, three, 2 to 3 baby mamas and dad, big daddy. So
Mm-hmm.
when they interact in social media, it's different because they have stuff. I had a brother. They was like, well, why you still talking to them? And see, that can cause a conflict. Some of these issues that we do have uh, that are social media driven are because of misunderstandings on social media. Remember Johnny Taylor cheating in the next room. Now you can cheat in the same room. Well, you know what? As Tiger Woods, look at Tiger Woods. I mean, you can be on your phone with your and women and men doing it. and while they
Mhm.
sleep, you texting and going back and forth, uh, having Facebook sex. You know, it's folk
Yeah.
doing all kind of stuff, and that's the type of stuff that's now. You know, even like porn. You know, you got a lot of folk. You know, they said, man, you said, man, goodness, I mean, I might not be thinking like that, but like I said, when I got a bunch of buddies, Big Daddy, Big Daddy. I ain't putting them out there to drop me out here throwing my business out there. I'm talking about I'm Big Daddy, Big Daddy. But I ain't calling their name. But they Big Daddy, Big Daddy. You go in there and you be like, man, you got grandkids. You know, he said, man, look at it good here, John. Look at it good. Look. I like, man. I said, but that's what he want to do. Now, if his old lady catch him, it's not gonna be good. But I think
That's a discipline problem. You shouldn't do
that's a discipline
anything
problem.
that would jeopardize your relationship.
Yeah. But most
That's
guys
not
I
cool
know,
at all. You know that it's a
w-
possibility you're going to get caught. You don't do stuff
yeah.
like that. You
Well,
don't
well, let me put this out,
love.
Miss Sylvia.
When you do
I
love,
gotta,
when
I
you
gotta,
have love for
I gotta put.
your mate, you
I,
do
I,
stuff that's not gonna
yeah.
make them
Well,
upset. You always want them to
yeah.
be happy. You
Well,
don't do stuff like that knowing you might get caught, and
let,
then that's
well,
gonna
let me.
jeopardize your relationship, and then you're gonna be sleeping outside,
Yeah,
in your
yeah.
car or whatever.
Well, let me. I got to do this, Miss Sylvia. I got to put a disclaimer on that. Now, there used to be some guys I know. Most guys I know have tightened up. They
Hmm.
especially since what's the thing, COVID. Guys said, "John, I had to focus. I had to rebrand myself." They became loyal men, you know, because it's a lot out there now, and guys uh, raise their level of thinking when it comes down to love, And I tell all guys, get yourself ready. You got 2 weeks, get ready for what's it, Saint Valentine's Day. I mean, you better get, they want something, brother. So we, get your stuff in order, get your house in order. February
Hmm.
14th, you might talk about it's a pagan holiday and this and that. Hey, you show up without no candy and roses and see what happens.
Yeah, but then you can take
It
them
ain't,
out to dinner, or cook a meal.
that's true. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
yeah. So me, I don't care if I don't get any candy because I try not to eat it anyway.
Oh,
So
okay, that's good.
Valentine isn't made. Now, when I was a kid, I wanted that candy, but
Yeah.
now I've outgrown that. I've actually almost outgrown Valentine. I know it exists, but I've practically outgrown it. It
Uh,
doesn't faze me anymore. That's the younger people thing, in my opinion. You know,
well, it's commercialized now. I
yeah.
went in Walmart the other day. They got 10 aisles for Valentine.
Mm, they don't
I
make
mean,
no
these
sense.
stores. Oh, they done took it to another level. Well, commercialization of love. They got stuff for the last minute guy. But uh, love is critical in today's society. I think when we look at the love that God has for the world, okay, God created Most High. However you look at naming him, naming it, uh, there's a lot of love. And if humans can be a little more compassionate, I think about the incident that just happened. I'm not gonna go into the call. Be talking about it all next week. But when you think about people not showing love, where they can beat somebody up, abuse somebody, that's kind of hard. That's hard to digest.
Hmm.
As a people, you know, uh, as a people, you know, most people show love. Wherever I go, somebody's, showing a little piece of love to me. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
when you see those bad things that people do to others, and that's when man, they need a little love. You know, what's that song? What the world needs now is love.
Love, sweet love.
Dun 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 dun. I forgot how
Yeah.
it goes, but yeah. But the world needs more love. You can
Yeah.
never get enough love.
Yeah. And some of the other ways you can show love is rejoice when somebody do something good. Give them praise. You know,
Yes.
hey, congratulations! I'm so happy for you. That's showing
And be
love right
sincere.
there.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
sometimes the affectionate love is touching a person in the middle of their back. You
Okay,
might not
can't touch
think,
everybody. Now you can't be like Joe Biden. Now they said Joe Biden, Uncle Joe showed a little too much love. I mean,
yeah, but
yeah.
affectionate love, just touching them in the middle of their
Okay,
back. That
I'm just
for
saying.
the person you want to show affection to, okay,
Yeah,
not just
you get it.
everybody.
Yeah,
But the
you get a
person
lot of
just
trouble
touching
hugging
them in the
folks.
back, huh?
You get a lot of trouble hugging folks.
Yeah, but you know
What they
what?
do, the church hug.
Yeah, what? Hugging actually releases stress. Did you know
Yeah.
that when you hug somebody, it actually releases stress?
Oh yeah,
Sometimes
yeah.
when you hug somebody, and it's like they just melt. Now let
Mm,
stress like melt away from them. And then when you're doing that, you're showing love and releasing their stress at the same time. Because some people need hugs sometimes.
okay.
They
All
really do.
right.
And that's
Well,
showing love right there.
yeah.
So
That's true.
yeah, they need, and you can't always look at hugging and touching of the back as a sexual attraction or something like that. Sometimes it's just
Right.
innocent love. I care for you. Hey, how you
Right.
doing? Then grab and hug him. Because I know a friend of mine, I hadn't seen him in years, and I was surprised to see him um here in Atlanta. And I went
Right.
ran to him and hugged him. Haven't seen you in ages, glad to see him. So that can happen. That's showing love.
Okay. Yeah.
That's showing love. Yeah. And another thing of showing love is offering advice or encouragement. When you see
That's
somebody
true.
doing wrong, don't just let them do wrong. Tell them, hey, you
Right.
need to do this. Or can you think about changing your attitude or something like that? Because they might have the wrong attitude. Giving them
Right.
some advice or encouraging them. You can do it. You can do it. Don't feel bad. Things happen like this. Encourage them. That's showing love too. Okay.
Right.
So there's a lot of stuff in showing love. And on Valentine's, give them that candy. Yeah.
Word to the wise.
Uh-huh.
You heard it.
Yeah.
I say word to the wise. You
A
heard it
lot of
here.
guys, I remember back in the day, they would dump their girlfriends so they won't have to get them some Valentine candy.
Oh yeah. A lot of brothers said it was against their religion.
Uh-huh.
Oh
So,
yeah.
but you know what? If that was me, you dumped me just before Valentine, after Valentine, you ain't coming back. Uh-uh.
Ah.
Cause look, I dumped a guy one time because he didn't buy me a birthday present. And that was early
Now
on
that's
in my life.
that's some selfish love. Now you got to be
Yeah.
set. But that's back in the day. You don't mature. You done got better. Early love. Now that makes you understand in young people because as we get older, I think our demands are not like you know it's finicky. They are more uh, relationship driven.
Mhm.
Most time is older ones. We found ourselves. We've identified what we like, what we don't like, and all that type stuff. So we get
Yeah.
into a love relationship. We happy. We ain't. At I just download 6.4 software. You ain't trying to be miserable. I'm like, man, I might have another 30 years, but you ain't. I ain't trying to have 30 years of misery. So you looking for good, uh, healthy long-term relationships, and love
Mhm.
is a critical way to build it, and it takes time, it takes patience. Love is all that.
Yeah. It is, and you have to be considerate of the other person too. It's not all about me, me, me. Be
True.
considerate. Don't If you don't like fussing, don't fuss. Keep your mouth shut. Walk away. Talk about something else.
Yeah.
And that's what breaks up a lot of relationships because they nag, 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 and always fussing, or the man's always
Ooh.
controlling, and the woman don't want you to control me. You're not gonna control me. You ain't my daddy, and all that kind of stuff.
Ooh.
And they fight over that kind of stuff. So
Oh
you
yeah.
have to learn to know your place and know when you stepping into somebody else's space. You
That's
know,
true.
if you can figure that out, things will be better.
Oh yeah.
It will be better. Yeah. So, any last minute hints you want to tell somebody before we get out of here?
Show some love. Be lovable.
Yeah, yeah, show some love. And as I said, my book, Power Thoughts. You can get my book at ankproductions.com. ankproductions.com. Get this book. You won't regret it. It has a lot of stuff in there. Like for instance, um, uh, my mind just went blank. But anyway, get the book, ankproductions.com, and you will love it. It has a lot of powerful thinking in there, like showing your love, loving yourself. Okay, loving yourself is in that book. A lot of other stuff, powerful thinking, powerful thinking. So, in the meantime, love yourself. Don't put yourself in front of everybody else. It's good to love if you can love everybody simultaneously, yourself and everybody else. Good, but never put yourself down and sacrifice. Where you're gonna be miserable. I know people sacrifice things for their mates and stuff like that, but don't make yourself miserable for somebody else, especially when you know that they don't really appreciate it. Okay, because you gotta love yourself. When somebody's always on the take, no, you don't do that. If they're gonna take, then they're gonna have to give too. Love and relationships is a take and give thing. So love yourself. Okay. Of course, you're gonna love everybody else as well. If you see somebody that needs help, show love. But don't hurt yourself trying to help somebody else, because they're not gonna always appreciate it. Okay. So until next time, love yourself and be happy, because happiness is what counts the most. When you are happy, you can't make somebody else happy if you're not happy yourself. So it don't make sense to make somebody else happy and you're miserable. Don't make sense to buy stuff for somebody else and you sacrifice and you don't have stuff for yourself. Okay? Don't give all your money away to somebody when they're not giving you anything, or they're not making you feel happy. You just feel obligated to it. No, that's not the way it goes. It's a two-way street. Love and happiness is a two-way street. Until then, we're going to say y'all have a good evening. Good evening. And Valentine is next month. We got 2 weeks away. Think about it. Y'all have a good one.